But back in 1920, this was all federal grazing land. The federal government had allowed cattle ranchers to go ahead and ranch in this area and have their cattle be grazed all through this area. So back then, there was nothing here. What I'm going to tell you today is the story of how the Catalina Foothills in Tucson came about. Stay tuned. The history of the modern development of the Catalina Foothills dates back to the early 1920s. Prior to that, the Catalina Foothills was primarily federal trust and open range land that was used for cattle grazing. Back in the 1920s, land developer John Murphy began purchasing property north of River Road in the foothills of the Santa Catalina Mountains. The development he envisioned was for 10 subdivisions with large lots, often with 3 acres or more. Within the subdivisions, the lots would be laid out for maximum privacy, use of the natural terrain, preservation of desert vegetation and wildlife, and mountain and valley views. In addition to other smaller purchases, in 1928, Murphy bought a 7,000-acre tract of land north of River Road between Oracle Road and Sabino Canyon at a federal land auction. After the stock market crashed the following year, Murphy sought to sell some of this land to an Arizona banker for $10 an acre. The banker refused the offer on the grounds that the land was absolutely worthless. And around that same time, Josias Jostler, a Swiss architect, was retained to implement Murphy's vision. Residential development in the Catalina Foothills began in the 1930s, and Jostler designed a number of those homes. Catalina Foothills District 16, Jostler also designed the buildings now occupied by the Catalina Foothills School District near River Road and Campbell Avenue. The Foothills population was great enough in 1931 that the community members launched an effort to create its own school district. Catalina Foothills School District 16 began with 9 students, 3 of whom were John and Helen Murphy's children, and school was held in the Murphys' garage. The Catalina Foothills School District 16 had outgrown the garage, and John Murphy sold the district 2.2 acres for $10 in 1939, and Jostler designed the district's first school, the first school building, which today is occupied by district administration. Jostler's own studio, which he built himself, is a charming adobe brick and tile building that has been well preserved and restored.